悟の上だったんだろ? These streets will run red when I'm through.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Shroomy. I have a lot of different names and I just really like lore. So it's been a couple days. So my original plan with the new hero was I was going to talk about their hero trailer and their lore and their comic all together in one video. However, that kind of changed when I found out she was an Omnic. So if you don't know, with me, Omnics are a pretty big thing for me in the channel, and it's something that we've really wanted for a long time, so I'm trying to make a dedicated video to the new hero, of course, Shion, but as well, I'm just going to be talking about why Omnics are important in the future. So I've been trying to work on that in the background, which is why I haven't gotten a video out on the new hero trailer yet. But aside from that, I do want to talk about the new comic that just came out for Mizuki. So this one that just came out is pretty neat. It kind of expands on a little bit of the questions we had with her, but, well, when I say with her, I mean, of course, the new hero, but it doesn't really explain everything. So there's a lot of room that we're going to be seeing in the future. So we're going to be breaking this down first, and I'm going to be kind of focusing on the comic, but inevitably I'm going to be talking about the new hero herself, of course, at the end of this. If you like this kind of thing, don't forget to like and subscribe. We talk about lore of Overwatch just about every week, so yeah, a like and a sub is greatly appreciated. Anyways, let's get right into it with a little recap of the new comic, Facing Demons. The story begins with a flashback to Mizuki's past. Here, we get to see Mizuki as a child, and the early days of him joining the Hashimoto. Shion, the leader of the Hashimoto at the time, took him in and wanted him to become her student and tool in these early days. Wanting to use him as leverage for her other prisoner Toshiro and Mizuki quickly formed a bond and, over the years, became closer and closer, until Mizuki was assigned to infiltrate the yokai. Now, we cut to the present, and here we get to see that Overwatch has officially met up with the yokai. Overwatch brought Baptiste, Sojourn, Orisa, Mercy, and Cassidy to Japan to rescue Genji, who, in the short story A Fall of a Sparrow, was kidnapped by the Hashimoto. Kiriko and Hanzo, alongside all of the other yokai members who we get new images of, discuss their plan to break into the Hashimoto stronghold and rescue Genji. Here, Mizuki explains his idea and plans, not only to save Genji, but to stop the Hashimoto and whatever Talon is planning with them. Both the groups agree to Mizuki's plan. Overwatch is going to stop the transportation of anima-tech weapons, while the yokai break in and rescue Genji. The team split, and before going into the Hashimoto building, the yokai team meets outside. They get a little recap, and Kiriko tells Mizuki that she wants to rescue her father as well, Toshiro, who should be held prisoner in the facility. Kiriko tells Mizuki that she wants to rescue her father as well, Toshiro. He's been a prisoner of the Hashimoto and has been forced to make weapons for years. Mizuki, still acting like he has no idea who Toshiro is, even though the two are very close, go deep into the facility, searching for him, but of course, searching for Genji as well. Deep inside, Mizuki decides to cause a distraction. Meanwhile, the rest of the yokai will go rescue Genji, and they'll meet up where Toshiro should be, which is the Forge. Kiriko doesn't like the idea of him going off on his own at first, but eventually allows him to go, saying they'll meet up when they meet Toshiro. Now, we get to see Mizuki re-meeting with his old mentor and kind of mother figure in a sense, Shion. Mizuki at first acts like the mission went well with the yokai, but soon breaks down and tells her face to face that he's betraying her and sticking with his newfound family. Shion does not take this well, and the two have a small battle. Here, we get to see that everything that she put Mizuki through in his past was from an intense training, not only to help strengthen him, but to make him prepared for the world. In her past, she was wronged and was taught one thing: pain is the #1 source of power. So she wanted to give that strength to young Mizuki, and she did. Mizuki disagrees with how she goes about things now, but does understand what she did in the past was out of a weird form of love. So, once he gets his call from Kiriko saying they rescued Genji, he teleports out of the room. Shion, enraged, orders the Hashimoto to find Mizuki. Meanwhile, Mizuki and the yokai begin to enter a familiar room, the Forge, where Toshiro should be ready to be saved. So, yeah, this one I was not expecting to get this early. This was something we were definitely building up to ever since Mizuki was revealed. He's finally betrayed the Hashimoto and is joining the good guys. This is something we got teases of all the way back at the original, Spotlight event. when they were talking about Mizuki that he was going to be swapping sides. So yeah, good to see it now. Didn't expect it to happen before Season 3, but that's going to be saved for a different video, and kind of my thoughts on Season 2 in general, which is still happening this week, hopefully. But aside from that, yeah, Mizuki betraying the Hashimoto was kind of making sense, something that we all kind of assumed was going to happen, but his relationship to Shion, which that's the new hero, of course, is really interesting. So, of course, they kind of have a mother-son dynamic in a sense, or like a stepmother who loves but is going about it in the wrong way, and a son who doesn't really understand the way she's going about it. This dynamic is probably going to make a lot more sense when we see Shion's entire backstory, because as an Omnic, she's probably had to deal with a lot of pain in the past, and has definitely been taught that. I mean, look at Ramatra's backstory. They're definitely not going to be one-to-one, but if Ramatra's kind of past was anything for how an Omnic's awakening goes, Shion's past is probably going to be pretty bad. Aside from that, though, I was really surprised to see the new Overwatch here. So, Baptiste, Sojourn, Orisa, Mercy, I kind of speculated some of these characters would be coming. Of course, Mercy was one I really got right on the nail with, and Cassidy as well. But the rest I was surprised with. It seems kind of like random choices, but it does make a good team here. Good little team comp as well. Sojourn and, of course, the yokai finally working together is a pretty big moment for the narrative. We're finally seeing things move forward, and it was really good to see the yokai again in general, because it's been a really long time since we've seen any of them, aside from basically Kiriko's origin story, I think, was the last time. Well, at least for the Omnic member. Everybody else we got to see in Kiriko's one-shot manga, but you know what I mean. It was really cool to see all of them again, and it's really crazy to actually see this image of Sojourn and all the Overwatch agents talking with the yokai and Hanzo. Like, that really shows how far we're progressing, and we're progressing at a pretty quick pace. I thought this was going to be probably a build-up to like a mid-season lore drop, but yeah, it's a pre-drop for Season 3, which is still kind of surprising to me. Anyways, some of the other interesting stuff in this kind of takes place at the same time as the hero trailer for Shion that came out the other day. In that one, Shion was seen fighting Sojourn on a train, and she kind of gets defeated or pushed back a little bit. So now we get to see here that I'm assuming this takes place right after that, where Shion went back to the main base and met up with the yokai and Mizuki. Another interesting thing I want to point out with all this is Animatech. So they're transporting Animatech and giving Animatech to Talon. In return, Talon is benefiting from it by, well, giving them people as well. This is something we kind of knew was going to happen, but I'm wondering if this Animatech thing is going to lead to any major story beat or a hero next year. I'm kind of unsure because the SCP serum that happened last season with everything with Moira and Sierra didn't really go anywhere yet, but that could be something for the future as well. Maybe Vendetta is going to recruit even more people and she'll be giving one of these people an Animatech weapon. Or this could just be fluff to get Talon involved in some way. I do have some small overall critiques with how everything's been handled so far with the narrative, but like I said before, I'm going to be saving that for a kind of recap and story thoughts on the entire season video. Another thing I forgot to mention when I was originally recording this was in the actual gameplay trailer, you get to see Baptiste and Mizuki kind of like a little bar area. Now this isn't the really crazy part to all this. What's interesting to me is these two have pretty similar backstories, both being members of enemy groups who defect, and not everyone knows that they defected. Something that's kind of brought up in this story but not really focused on is how Mizuki doesn't tell anyone that he's a part of the Hashimoto, or was, and he chose his friends. Now, I do think this is going to probably be a plot point later where Shion kind of tells everyone that he used to be a double agent, or maybe even Hanzo finds out, but also we have Baptiste, who's in the same exact situation. A lot of Overwatch doesn't know he's ex-Talon. Now, it's not as bad as with Baptiste, but I do think these two have a chance to potentially bond here. Maybe we'll get a story about them talking about their past experiences and where they want to go next, how they're in better places now, maybe even talking about how they left kind of important people behind in those evil organizations. But that's hopeful thinking for the future. I really want to see Baptiste get more involved, and this could be the prime time to do it. These two could be a really cool duo in the future. And those are kind of the big juicy parts. Mizuki's character, I think, was obviously the main character of this story and the highlight of it. Finally getting to see his inner workings and seeing his full story fully come out of the woodwork, getting to see his mother figure, getting to see his kind of father or mentor figure with Toshiro again, and seeing everything finally move forward to Tokyo in Season 3. It's been really interesting to see this kind of evolve over time, but yeah, I am hoping this is not the end of it. Now, on the official listing for this on social medias and on YouTube, the Overwatch accounts said this is the beginning of the Tokyo battles, I believe, or something along those lines. So I am hopeful we're going to be getting a lot more lore with all these characters. That means the new Overwatch that's here with these guys, plus the yokai and Genji and Hanzo as well. I hope all these guys get a little bit to do here, but especially Hanzo and Genji. Those guys really, I think, deserve to get a little bit of an action here and some shine, so yeah. And of course, one other thing I do want to mention is towards the end of this story. So, we get a little idea of where Shion fits into the Hashimoto's kind of power scaling, or, well, hierarchy, I should say. So, at the end, the goons or the Hashimoto thugs get to basically talk to Shion, and they say that the elders are summoning her. Now, this is pretty interesting because they've been calling Shion the leader of the Hashimoto, but it doesn't really sound like she's the leader. It sounds more like she's the figurehead, or kind of the one that runs the underworld, while the elders rule everything from the shadows, and she has to listen to them. So, there's kind of like a little area for where she fits into all this. However, I am really curious how Vendetta's plans are going with all this. Did she specifically talk to Shion, or was this something with the elders? Is there going to be some type of dynamic that forms between all these groups, or is it going to be kind of a more out there kind of thing? I do hope we get a little bit more on the Hashimoto, such as more named characters. I would love to get names of the elders as an example when we get Shion's backstory and comic and everything. In general, my only critique right now is I just wish we got more of Shion. As of recording this, we only got her hero trailer and her gameplay trailer so far, so we don't have a really good idea of her character. But I am hopeful we're going to be getting more about her next season. After all, it's her season, and hopefully they learned a little bit from how everything went with Sierra, and we get a lot more with this new hero. At the moment, she kind of just feels like a character to be Mizuki's villain, but of course, that's not going to be the case for all of the future of Overwatch, so I'm interested to see where they're going to take her, especially next season. Anyways, those are kind of my quick early thoughts on everything with the new hero. What did you guys like about this comic? And don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next couple videos. Since we got an Omnic hero, it's a time for celebration, and I want to really spotlight how far we've come. So look out for that in maybe a week or so. Anyways, that's all from me, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!